Hello guys, I wanted to make a quick video on insulation. So as you can see, I haven't finished insulating the van, but I want to talk a bit about the choices I made and why I did them, and yeah, hopefully it works out, and maybe you guys can, if any viewers have done this before, because for me it's my first time. But I did do a bit of research on it, and I do think this is probably a good choice in terms of insulating the inside of a van, and not too expensively either. So first off, just to kind of say, in terms of the floor, I'll talk about this in another video, but there's like kind of what's it, Celotex hard PIR board insulation, which is non-toxic, but it is flammable. However, since it's under the floor, I doubt there's going to be any problem with fires under the floor, I guess. I hope anyway. So as you can see, there's the floor insulation, and here's insulation I've done so far. And I started just with sound deadening Noiko mats, and then put recycled plastic insulation on top of it, and that so far is all I'm doing for insulation, and it seems to be okay. Already it feels warmer in the van than it does outside. Yeah, in terms of the sound deadening, I'll talk about that first. So I read that 25 to 30% coverage inside on the panels of the van was optimal in terms of sound deadening. So that's what I did. I just I just estimated it, and it seems to have done a relatively good job. And yeah, they were Noiko. I think they're the cheaper. Yeah, they're cheaper, but they're probably they're the cheapest, but they're still pretty good, just as good as any other really. And I just cut them and stuck them on with a roller I got off eBay, just a typical roller, and that was the sound deadening. I did it all over the walls, inside doors, and on the ceiling as well, and on the wheel arches here, as you can see. Alright, just to show you the sound difference between these two. This is with the sound deadening mat, obviously, and this is without. In terms of the actual insulation material here, I used for people in the UK, there's a place called B&Q. For people in the UK who know B&Q, I just got kind of standard insulation called Dial, and I got 7 of these rolls and haven't used one, but I will use it. So far that was 2.22 meters squares times 7. So what does that make? Don't know, it makes at least like 16 square meters of insulation material that I needed to cover the inside of the van. And so yeah, I'm going to use this final roll to cover these kind of panels here, and under the headliner as well, and then a few other nooks and crannies, and also those panels there on the back doors. And actually I might have to buy another one, because I also plan on making some covers, insulation covers for the windows, and a curtain that will dangle off the just in front of the headliner there, to kind of separate the driver bay from the back, and actually insulate the back completely from the outside, because I don't really want to put kind of insulation on the front windows and stuff. Everyone knows outside that I'm inside a camper van. I'd rather go stealth. So yeah, the insulation material is this Dial stuff, and I suppose you can get it in America for people who are watching in America. It's just recycled plastic bottles. I didn't see too many kind of tutorial or DIY kind of van tutorials on insulation just using recycled plastic bottles as insulation. I saw like a couple of videos, but they were kind of, well, yeah, I had to do some searching. But yeah, I chose them because it's supposed to be good insulation property. It's water resistance, which is really important actually. That was one of the main factors, is that it's relatively water resistant. It's not going to mold if there are leaks and any water gets trapped, and that's massively important, because if it does mold, then supposedly you get kind of like, I don't know, smells and toxic fumes and whatnot. So that was a major factor, and also that it's non-toxic. There are fibers that come off it, and you can breathe them in, but it's still non-toxic. It's just like having a bit of a hairball. And yeah, so in terms of this insulation, you can actually buy different thicknesses, but since I bought mine from B&Q, which is, you know, it's designed for insulating lofts and stuff, you can only get it in one thickness, and the thickness is 100mm thickness, 10 centimeters thick, which is actually really thick. As you can see, they're kind of bulging out here. And if you get like specific insulation, the version that's specific, you can find stuff that's specifically made for vans, that's half thickness, so you can get 50mm thickness for the ceiling. And that's actually, you know, that's something to consider, because even though it might be more expensive than the option I went for, which was just the bog standard kind of loft insulation, it's really hard to keep the 100mm thickness stay up on the ceiling when you install it. So I had to wait. If you do use my kind of, if you go for the 100mm kind of bog standard cheaper version, it's the same material as you know, any kind of proprietary stuff or stuff that's made for vans, but it's cheaper because you're getting it from B&Q, and it's just made for lofts. So I think it was £16 each for these, and I got 7, so it was around 105, 106 quid for all of it. And yeah, it was perfect for this stuff. You just stick it in, so you cut it. It's really difficult to cut actually, so you do need decent scissors. I got these nice scissors off Amazon. I'll put the link in the description for you to have a look at. Put the link in I'll put the links for the insulation and for the sound deadening and for the insulation I used. Put all those links in the description for you to have a look at if you're interested. But yeah, so the cutting's very hard, so get a good pair of scissors. And in terms of the ceiling, you might want to wait until you put some slats up, so that it actually stays up when you put it, because I put loads of duct tape, loads of adhesive glue to kind of get it to stay up. Most people do use 3M. I use this SA90 stuff, which is the same basically, but a little bit cheaper. But it didn't work. Oops, what's going on? Yeah, it didn't work. It didn't stay up. It kept falling down. I used duct tape and the adhesive and everything, and it just kept falling down over and over again. So I had to wait until I installed like some so I'll make a video on this later, but I installed some rails for the ceiling, and I've got this kind of rail system that I'm doing for my van that you might be interested in, but I'll make a video on that later. But yeah, I had to wait until I installed something on the ceiling there to hold it up, and even then I had to put like extra string to kind of make sure it didn't sag down. So it's only really going to stay in place once I put all the slats up and everything that I plan on doing, and then finally it'll stay in place and not sag down at all. But yeah, so that's something to consider when you're choosing this, is that installing it in the ceiling, you'll have to kind of make sure that you're installing your kind of slats or whatever before you put the insulation on the ceiling, if you're using the same as me, which is 100mm thickness. I think you could probably go with the adhesive option if you get the half thickness versions in the UK at least, or maybe you can get it in the US as well. 50mm thickness, and it'll probably stay up without falling down. So yeah, that's what I've got to say about that. But it seems to be making the van a little bit warmer than the outside already, even though I haven't finished the insulating. So I think I'm just going to stick with this, keep it simple for now. I made sure I was good in terms of getting it all inside the hollow sections of the bodywork. You know, there's little kind of holes underneath here. You can kind of stuff in your insulation. Even here as well, I kind of stuffed it in. Oh, and also importantly, for the crossbars, I just kind of used a coat hanger. You can't see it here in this video because I put these battens in, but yeah, I just poked it through with the coat hanger, and I actually cut. What I did is I actually used kind of half lengths to kind of poke it through from the side until the middle and to the other side. Poke, you know, again, poke it through, and you can do that way and stuff it in with a coat hanger. I've seen people do it with thinsulate with a bit of string, but I didn't get thinsulate. And actually thinsulate, decided not to do thinsulate because it's so expensive. And this stuff seems to be, I think, probably in terms of, it's almost as good as thinsulate in terms of, or it seems to be just as good as thinsulate in terms of the fact that it has good insulation properties, or good enough, or comparable to thinsulate, and it's doesn't mold or has water resistant kind of features, right? You know, it does kind of soak. It does like take in water, but it's easy. It doesn't actually mold the insulation, which is quite kind of important because it's just, you know, it's just plastic, isn't it? So yeah, that's what I've gone for. Yeah, I've just got to do a little bit more to finish it off, and that's it. So yeah, if you guys have done this at all before, you know, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, or if you're interested, check out the links in the description for the materials that I bought. I think it's a good choice. I kind of ummed and ahed about it for a while before going for this option, but yeah, it's generally just easy. You just kind of just put it up, really. I didn't even use any glue on these side sections. I just measured it with tape measure, and then just cut the relevant sizes before kind of just stuffing it in all these little cavities here. And that's all it is, really. So yeah, cheers for watching.